Will we ever have a democracy that is corruption free? A democracy that is responsive to the needs of the people? A democracy that ensures that everybody enjoys equality and dignity? A democracy where it will not be the game of the few, the rich, but there is something that ensures the participation of everybody as equals and co-citizens. It doesn't seem possible if it is the type of democracy that we have now, if it is the type of democratic structures that we have now, that we are going to have. What's really wrong with the present day structures of democracy? We speak about what we call smallification. That word you won't find in any dictionary, but that really seems to be the solution. Why? Because the bigger a forum becomes, the more it becomes the game of the big voices. The bigger a forum becomes, the more the small voices get drowned, go unlistened to. People lose a voice. The small people, the poor people lose a voice when the forums are big. And present day democratic forums are too big. Now try to find out, for example, what is the real basic forum that our people have to express themselves. The only forum they have is a big constituency. Big constituency, say for example, parliamentary constituency. It is so big that one cannot even meet one another, know one another's face, ever come together is impossible. Because we have some 100,000 in a kind of a parliamentary constituency. They cannot talk. And then since they cannot talk, it ends up as the game of the people who can afford enough money to reach out to all. And who can really do that? The rich people, the filthy rich people. And so it ends up in a situation where only the rich can get elected. And when they get elected, of course, they will be focusing themselves on the interests of the rich. And they will only do a lip service to the concerns of the poor. Now, the important thing is that the people at the base have a grip. I just give a kind of an example. I was there in one house. There was a small child. The child was trying to move. The way it was doing was like this, puts the hands in front and presses the ground and gets a grip and moves the whole body forward. And then a little later what happened, the grandma tried to apply some oil on the body of the child in preparation for his bath. And then later on, the child was once again put on the ground. The child was trying to get a grip. It was not able to get a grip, so it was not able to move forward. The same way, the body of the people, the people who are form the majority of the population, that is the poor, if they have to move forward, if their problems are to be solved, they too need a grip. And then the present day forums are so big that you cannot have any grip at all. So you become helpless already at step number 1. Now, what is really the solution? If the big forums are the problem, make the forums small. And then ensure that everybody has a forum to have one say. See, to have power is to have an effective say. And if I say something and if it matters, then I can say I have power. And the people have to say, express articulately what their needs are and then make a demand effectively in such a way that their say becomes effective. And for that, the first thing they need is a forum. Without a forum, nobody really talks. At least one person must listen to you. Do people at the base really have a forum is again the question. Yes, they have the so-called forums, their namesake forums, in terms of these election constituencies, but they are not the forum that will give a grip to the people. So make the forums small. And where should these forums be? The forum should be where the people are. And where are these people? Where do they live? They live normally in the neighborhoods. So the small-sized forums, if they have to reach all, they have to be situated in the neighborhoods. So what we need is a neighborhood talking forum for the people. The whole world should be organized as neighborhood-based, territorially organized, inclusive forums that nobody is left out. And small-sized forums. How small should they be? We just take an inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi. He used to speak about face-to-face communities. That means, people sit around in one big circle and then nobody in the second round. That's face-to-face community. And there, they must be able to talk without a microphone. That is small-sized face-to-face community. And if everybody has such a neighborhood-based face-to-face community, nobody will be a nobody there. Everybody will have a face, a name, an identity, and everybody's tears will be seen, and everybody gets attention and is responded to. And then in the neighborhood, say for example, we would say a neighborhood of about 30 or 40 families. Everybody in the neighborhood comes together and they take charge of the neighborhood. They elect their own neighborhood prime minister, neighborhood ministers for health, neighborhood ministers for environment, for human rights, for education, for whatever need they experience in the neighborhood. And then these neighborhood parliaments, we call them neighborhood parliaments because a talking forum, when you take to the original root word of parliament, is only a parliament is only a talking forum because the Latin word is parlare, from where this word parlor comes, word parley comes. Parlor is a talking place, parley is a kind of negotiation like that. And so parliament is nothing but a talking forum. It is as if saying, you are the kings, you are the ones to decide together, and then you have to make decisions, so you'll have to come and talk. So you have a talking forum, you have a parliament. But unfortunately, later on in history, what happened was, these forums were taken away from the people. And they were given only the forums that never meet. So people lose voice. And then their problems will never be solved. Because they tell me, so-and-so is co-king of this nation because he is a citizen, but he is begging. And then there couldn't be a bigger joke than that. Because if he is really a king, his problems must be addressed, his poverty must be solved. And then if it's not happening, it means that they are not ruling. And this they will not rule until they have an effective grip through small-sized inclusive forums which get federated at various levels, because your reach, the effect of a talk should not be limited to neighborhood. So you have to be well connected, systematically connected. So you need to have multi-tier federation of neighborhood parliaments, which are neighborhood-based and small. And then with regard to the small-sized, with regard to small-sizedness, we insist that not only at the base, but every level it has to be a small-sized face-to-face forum. That means even at a national level, You don't need to have a big forum. It's enough to have a face-to-face forum. Even if we ever happen to have a world parliament, it also need not be very big, because 3,000 people do not necessarily make a better thinking than 30 people sitting together face to face. And so, if at every level it is a face-to-face community, at every level nobody is a nobody, everybody is somebody, everybody gets attention, nobody is a non-person. And that's what we should aim at. Now, just imagine what would happen if at every level the forums are small-sized. Suppose you elect some representatives from one level of the parliament to the next level, and later you find that the person whom you elected does not measure up to the challenges. You can call your face-to-face community and then decide to call him back and send somebody who would do better. Elections need not be costly, because that's the one reason, no? They say, can we really have election every day or what? Because elections are such a costly thing, they say. But here in the small-sized parliaments, elections need not be costly, because it's a face-to-face community. You can discuss, then you can, in a friendly and then simple way, call back the persons whom you elected from one level to the next. And then, if at every level, the level immediately below has the power to call back, at the end the whole system remains answerable to the man at the base. And then, if it responds to him, becomes answerable to him, his problem will be solved, and we will have a better world. And then another thing that could happen, imagine what would happen. Suppose if we want to have at every level a face-to-face community, a face-to-face community can contain only a certain number of people. And so, first level, so many families, you have first level parliament. Next level, so many neighborhood parliaments, you have the second level parliament. Next level, so many second level parliaments, you have the third level parliament. The number gets automatically limited, means these structures, that is neighborhood, village, panchayat, block, district, state and so on, become a kind of numerically uniform entities. No country is bigger than any other country. No state is bigger than any other state. What we have is only various levels of representations where nobody is excluded, nobody is treated unfairly, everybody belongs equally. So you don't need to have boundary wars saying that this is my boundary, this is my border. And when you don't have boundary wars, border wars, what will follow is that you have peace. You don't need to have military expenses. When you don't have military expenses, normally what happens is a big chunk of the budget of every nation goes for this armies, defense expenses, nuclear expenses and all that. All those things could stop if we have a system of small-sized, neighborhood-based, multi-tier federation of people's forums. And then another thing we insist is also this. You see, what we call the principle of subsidiarity. Subsidiarity means suppose this is main level and this is subsidiary level. And next level, this is main level, this becomes subsidiary level. And whatever can be done at any subsidiary level, don't take it to any main level. So that means don't take it to any higher level if things can be done at any lower level. So the higher levels, the centralized levels, the main levels are supposed to do only those things that no subsidiary level, no low level, no decentralized level can handle. If you go by that principle, what would happen is that most of the decisions will have to be taken at the base. And when you have to take a number of decisions at the base in the neighborhood forums, you'll have to consult others. You'll have to get their consent. And when people feel they are consulted, that they have an effective say, they feel that they are really somebody's, that they matter, that they have dignity as co-citizens.